Hey guys, it's Kristen, Money's feature writer and self-appointed resume expert. Welcome back to Burning Money Questions, a new series where we answer everything you've ever wanted to know about personal finance. A few weeks ago, we told you to send us all of your questions about resumes. Here are the answers. How often do I really need to update my resume? You probably shouldn't wait until you're eyeing the door at your current job to update your resume. Job responsibilities tend to change and evolve over time, so try to make it a point to revisit your resume every 6 months or so to keep things fresh in your mind. Believe me, you'll thank yourself later. What are your thoughts on modern resumes? There's a lot of conflicting advice about what a modern resume actually is. We can all agree that most Word templates are outdated and just generally bad, but you don't want to swing too far in the other direction either. Your resume still has to look like a resume. Here are some ways you can modernize it without overdoing it. Use a pop of color to break up all that black and white and to draw attention to subsections of your resume. Add links to your website, LinkedIn page, and all the social media profiles that are relevant to your job. Choose your font wisely. Honestly, one of the easiest ways to bring your resume into the 21st century is to stop using Times New Roman and start using a clean, sans serif font that reads well in print and on screen. Franklin Gothic, Calibri, Avenir, these are all really good options. How much does format matter? Resumes are personal. If you're a graphic designer, you have a lot more creative leeway than an accountant or a teacher, but here are some format tips that everybody can use. As a rule of thumb, your resume should be left justified because that's how our eyes have been trained to read. List your experience in reverse chronological order and put your education at the bottom. Here's a big format don't. Don't use giant blocks of text. It's way easier for an employer to scan through a mix of short sentences and bullet points than a vague run-on paragraph about how you exceeded expectations at your last sales job. When you're writing up your work history, use a succinct sentence or two to lay out exactly what you did and use bullets to back it up. How much did you top your sales goal? How many people did you oversee in that management position? It's not enough to just say you're great at doing something, you have to prove it. Should I add a picture? Throwing a headshot on a resume is pretty on trend right now, but unless you're looking for acting gigs or you're famous, it's probably not a great idea. Racial discrimination, age discrimination, gender discrimination, these are real things that modern job seekers still have to contend with. And that sucks in a million different ways, but the bottom line is you don't want to give someone a reason to discriminate against you or anybody else. What's the best way to explain a long gap in work history? Honestly, it's best not to do too much explaining on a resume at all. So unless you spend a work gap doing something incredibly relevant to the job you're applying for, like you're a travel writer and you took a year off to travel and write, leave it off. If you got laid off and couldn't find a job for like 6 months, or you quit your sales job to eat, pray, love your way around Europe, save that stuff for the cover letter. What about certifications? If you're an expert in an area that the job ad specifically asks for, absolutely include that on your resume. That goes for certifications, continuing education classes, fellowships, anything you can point to and say, I can do this and here's the proof. Can I use 2 sheets of paper? You don't always have to cram everything onto one page. If you're an executive or you've been in your field for decades, knock yourself out. But the reality is, most people can distill their career history into just a few paragraphs. Don't list entry-level jobs or internships unless you're just starting out. Going in depth on your most recent responsibilities and hammering home why you killed it in those specific roles is way more powerful than just ticking off everything you've ever done. I have a super strong resume. Why am I not getting any calls back? If you sent out a bunch of resumes and you're not getting any bites, here are some things you can look at. 1, are you tailoring your resume to each job posting? That means repeating keywords in the ad and stressing, maybe even bolding, the things it asks for. Using one generic resume for every job usually doesn't cut it. 2, are you applying through web portals? Those things are like black holes, so if you're not taking the time to find the name and email of an actual human being who can give you the job you want, or passing along your resume to someone who can, you're really only doing the bare minimum. 3, have you had someone else look over your resume? Truth is, I don't know you. or your job, but someone out there, a mentor, a recruiter, a close friend in your industry, can probably give you some really solid advice about what you're missing. So if you feel like it could use some zhuzhing, get a second opinion. If you like this video, click subscribe. If you want more money videos, click here. Also, do you have a burning money question? Tweet at us @money.